The morning sunlight spilled over the neat rows of houses, catching the dew on my freshly trimmed grass. It was my sanctuary. The yard wasn't just a patch of green, it was the piece of earth I had built my peace on. A place where hard work and quiet mornings had replaced years of noise and chaos. I was standing with my coffee when I heard the sound. A crisp, hollow thwack against my mailbox. I looked down. A bright orange HOA violation notice flapped in the breeze. The words hit like a punch. Unauthorized land usage, immediate compliance required. I read it again, thinking maybe I misunderstood. But there it was in black ink. The strip of land between your fence and the sidewalk is HOA property. You are to remove all personal items and landscaping within 14 days. My jaw tightened. That strip of land? I bought it when I bought the house. It was in the deed. The fence was there before the HOA even existed. The paper crumpled in my fist. That night I sat at the kitchen table, the violation notice in front of me like a challenge. My deed sat open beside it, clearly showing the boundary lines. The HOS claim wasn't just wrong, it was a lie. The next morning I marched into the HOA office. The building was small, sterile. Behind the counter sat the HOA president, with smugness on his face like a permanent feature. I placed my deed on the counter. "This is my land." He didn't even glance down. "According to our easement agreement, it's HOA property now." "That easement doesn't exist," I said, voice hard. "And even if it did, you can't just take land without..." He cut me off. "You can fight it, but we'll start fines tomorrow. $250 a day." The words burned through me. It wasn't just theft, it was extortion. 2 days later, I came home to the sound of machinery. The fence that had stood for years lay in splintered pieces. A backhoe claw tore at the soil. My flower beds, gone. My yard, stripped bare. I stood in the dust cloud, fists clenched so hard my nails dug into my palms. The HOA president stood nearby, watching like it was his personal victory parade. That night I didn't sleep. I didn't pace. I didn't scream. I planned. I spent the next week digging into records, property transfers, HOA budgets, board meeting notes. I found something. A weakness. The HOA office wasn't owned by the board members personally. It was owned by a holding company. A holding company that had quietly listed the building for sale 3 weeks ago. They had no idea I knew. I contacted a friend, a real estate broker who owed me a favor. I told him to put in an offer through a shell company I set up that morning. We kept my name out of it, buried under layers of paperwork. By Friday, the offer was accepted. By Monday, I signed the closing documents. The HOA office was mine, but I didn't tell them. Not yet. The next HOA meeting was held in their office. I walked in like nothing had happened. The president glared at me, ready to announce my latest fine. That's when I stood up and pulled a folder from my bag. "This," I said, "is the deed to this building. Effective last week, I'm your landlord." The room went dead silent. "You've got 30 days to vacate," I added, "or I start charging rent you can't afford." The president's face drained of color. "You can't..." "I can," I said, sliding a copy of the deed across the table. "And I already have." For the first time in weeks, the knot in my chest loosened. But I wasn't done. The room remained frozen for a moment before the HOA president slammed his fist on the table. "You don't own this place." "That deed is fake," I smiled coldly. "It's not. Verified by the county recorder's office. You're tenants now." Whispers erupted around the room. The board members exchanged nervous glances, their confidence unraveling. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. I sent formal eviction notices, each one backed by ironclad legal papers. The board scrambled to find lawyers, tried to intimidate me with counter threats, but I had prepared for every angle. I hired a private investigator who dug up years of financial mismanagement, inflated maintenance fees, ghost contractors, kickbacks hidden in plain sight. The scandal was worse than I imagined. With the evidence in hand, I contacted the local newspaper. Within days, a reporter was knocking at their door, cameras rolling as the story broke wide open. The headline read, "HOA board accused of corruption and land grabs." Neighbors came forward, sharing stories of harassment, unfair fines, and personal vendettas. The community's trust shattered overnight. Pressure mounted. The HOA president resigned quietly, his departure announced with a vague, personal reasons statement. Other board members followed suit, some even moving away. Meanwhile, I began restoring my stolen yard. The fence was rebuilt, flower beds replanted. Every inch reclaimed was a silent message. One afternoon, standing in the sunlight filtering through my blossoming trees, I looked back at the now empty HOA office building I owned. Justice wasn't just about winning a battle. It was about reclaiming peace, restoring balance, and making sure no one else could be bullied like that again. They stole my yard, but I took their office, and they'll never forget it.